Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Everything you have, do the club, do the bed, don't be shy, do the lie, do the clock, do the shot, do it, never do it.
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Part 2. Joining me today is Steve Baxi and Ruben. God, Ruben, I always fuck up your last name. DeBoard, DeBreed?
DeBoard, yeah.
DeBoard, okay. Ruben DeBoard, aka the Comics Kid 2099, and the Steve Baxi.
The Steves of the Baxies.
Ruben has picked our topic discussion tonight, so what are we discussing?
Today we are talking about movies of the year 2018 that we are looking forward to the most. I tend to, at the very beginning of the year, make a big list of everything that I intend to see in theaters, and then, just kind of check them off as they come out in theaters. So this I thought would be a fun little way to kick off the year.
Yeah. And this is a weird thing for me because I don't watch trailers for movies I'm excited for, and just generally speaking, I try to avoid trailers whenever possible. I rarely, if ever, go actively seek them out. So I don't know, it might be a good thing that we actually are not talking about it, because I feel like so many of these kind of lists of movies people are looking forward to, all they do is summarize the trailers and explain what they liked about that. So it'll be interesting to get into this. But the way we do Geeky Gentlemen lists is we each have 4 choices, one of which is an honorable mention, and so that way you get 9 definitive choices, and then third, or you could just say it's the conglomerate choice. I don't know. You guys figure it out. It's 9.3 repeating. I don't know. So anyway, since this is Ruben's topic, why don't you start us off tonight with your honorable mention?
Okay, my honorable mention is I usually, whenever I make lists for myself, it's very difficult for me to go in any particular order, but I think the movie on my list I'm the least excited for is Aquaman, and that's only because I have been anywhere from extremely disdainful to ambivalent towards most of the DC movies that we've gotten since Man of Steel in this new DC shared movie universe, whatever they're calling it. I did enjoy the Justice League movie. I don't know what you guys thought of it. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say that it's a good piece of cinema. I had several problems with it, but I had a good time watching it. I thought it was just a fun romp. So I'm hoping we can get that level of fun with the Aquaman movie. I like the character of Aquaman. He's a character who I think gets unfairly crapped on a lot by society as a whole and pop culture in general. And so I'm hoping this movie can do something to kind of bring some of that away. But I don't know what to expect from it. I don't think I've ever seen a James Wan movie. James Wan is the one directing it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but that is the one I'm the least excited for, but I am interested in seeing it because I like the character of Aquaman, and I liked what Jason Momoa did with the character in Justice League. I mean, they could have just turned him into a complete butt of all the jokes based on how, over the last 40 years, people have treated Aquaman outside of the comics. So I'm really glad they didn't do that. And if we can get a fun coming-of-age fantasy story set underwater, I will be pretty excited about that.
Okay, and yeah, that's what I've just been really wondering about what they're gonna do with that, because I mean it's the DCEU has not had a healthy track record, and it's Aquaman. And if anything needs like finesse and to be done well, it's probably an Aquaman movie to dispel the narrative of what that character is to the culture at large.
Mm-hmm. And I guess this could turn out to be kind of like the Wonder Woman movie, where that movie was able to be made with very little interference overall, because that movie took place in the past. They didn't have to worry about setting up a whole lot of anything for future movies. Like, Batman vs. Superman, love it or hate it, a lot of that was setting up stuff in the Justice League movie. You didn't really have a whole lot of that in the Wonder Woman movie, and I'm wondering if we're going to have a whole lot of that in Aquaman. I'm suspecting this is going to be a movie that's largely going to be in his corner of the DC universe. It's going to be underwater. We'll have a whole lot of his supporting characters. We did get a little bit of that set up in Justice League, so I'm wondering if it's how I suspect they're going to have it, if we're not going to get a whole lot of like connections to the DC universe as a whole, and therefore they will be able to just make their own Aquaman movie that they want to make.
Yeah, I don't know. Steve, is Aquaman anywhere on your list?
No, So okay, I will mention this that I said earlier. I got rid of all of the popular movies from my list because I knew either one of you were going to pick them. So like Black Panther's not on my list, Infinity War's not on my list, because I know we're going to talk about them at some point. Aquaman, I completely forgot that movie was even coming out this year. This universe. I give no shits about dude, bro, my man, Aquaman, especially when Jason Momoa is a sexist asshole. So, I don't even know if I'm going to see that movie. We'll see.
You always say that and you get dragged, so.
I did not know that about Jason Momoa. I didn't know that.
He makes rape jokes and it bothers me, and I kind of want to kick his ass for it if he couldn't kick mine.
Wow, I did not know that. And to be fair, you can be forgiven for forgetting about this movie because DC, every time one of their movies comes out, they change their game plan. Like, they have announced movies. Like, it's been like 3 years since they announced that The Rock was going to play Black Adam, and that still hasn't happened. Like, they still haven't filmed 1 minute of that. So, they...
Correct me if I'm wrong. Aquaman comes out in the summer, right?
I think so. I didn't look up the dates on any of mine.
Okay, I'm just curious because we got a trailer for every DC movie over a year before it was coming out. And we still don't have anything for Aquaman. That
is pretty nuts.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I might be kind of wrong on that, but I feel like even Wonder Woman, we had a trailer when we were a year, if not over a year out from it.
And also, there was stuff concerning Atlantis and Aquaman that was cut from the Justice League movie, so I wonder if that has affected the Aquaman movie. Like, I'm starting
to think maybe it'd be a Suicide Squad thing of like the director got to do their own thing, and then the previous movie came out, and so post-production's a nightmare for everyone.
I hope not.
Because Justice League is a box office failure, so we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Steve, what's your honorable mention?
My honorable mention is Alex Garland's Annihilation. So if you don't know, Annihilation is a film based on a novel trilogy. I don't know if the trilogy has a proper name. I know the first book's called Annihilation. That's about it. But the book Annihilation is essentially about these 4 women who are scientists that go to a marked off area in like a post-apocalyptic world.
Oh, right. Yeah, I've seen that. It's got is it Natalie Portman or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so the book is a really, really cool, really fascinating exploration of not only the relationship people have to the Earth and that cool environmental message, but also like histories concerning the ideas of like original sin and patriarchy and the redemption of womanhood and that kind of thing. Like it's really artsy and symbolic. It has all these cool layers because all the main characters are women and they're all scientists and they're all dealing with like this really fucked up post global warming world. And also it stars our bae Oscar Isaac, and I can't wait to see him be the beloved husband, because we all want him to be our beloved husband. I also just love Alex Garland. Alex Garland is a lot like Damien Chazelle, quickly becoming one of my favorite up-and-coming directors. I love Ex Machina. I really, really like Dread. 28 Days Later, he didn't direct or produce, but he did write it, and I love that movie too.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really like Never Let Me Go. Like, just in general, I like Alex Garland. So I can't wait to see what he does with this. The novel is one of my favorite things, and at the very least, I feel like it's going to have a lot of interesting performances, because Alex Garland can always bring out really bizarre characteristics and quirks of his actors. Oscar Isaac in Ex Machina is unrecognizable. Mm-hmm. And Natalie Portman has yet to disappear in a role for me. I feel like if she's ever going to, it's going to be with Alex Garland. Or Quentin Tarantino. But that hasn't happened yet.
Fair enough. It's funny, when I saw the trailer for that, I thought it was like a sequel to Arrival or something. Because
it feels like that a little bit.
Yeah, they got like the big hazmat suits and stuff, and it's just like, oh, wait, huh?
I was kind of getting
a really good stellar cast. Like Natalie Portman's in it, Jennifer Lee's in it, Gina Rodriguez is in it, Tessa Thompson's in it, Oscar Isaac, Benedict Wong. Like it's pretty packed.
Yeah, I was also getting an Arrival feeling. And I never did see Arrival, but it kind of reminds me of Arrival. Also, like that had a very star-studded cast, also, didn't it?
Yeah, like Amy Adams and a couple other people.
Jeremy Renner.
And,
a couple other people. Yeah, I loved Arrival too. Arrival was my favorite movie of that year.
That's cool. Well, I mean that sounds interesting. Doesn't that has something to do with the with like Alien or something rewriting genetic code, correct?
Yeah. It's like it's kind of like if
Mars
Alien
attacks.
Covenant didn't suck. I was trying to like inject Alien Covenant into a different context, like Alien Covenant meets whatever, but like no, it's like Alien Covenant if it didn't suck.
Okay. Alien Covenant meets good.
Yeah, Alien Covenant meets quality. Alien Covenant meets potential.
Did you guys like Prometheus?
I did not, and Alien Covenant I think makes it worse. Alien Covenant I think is legitimately the worst movie in that franchise, and I think Prometheus.
Really, you're gonna put that above the Alien Resurrection?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, because Alien Covenant its head is fucking up its penis ass.
It's penis ass.
It's penis ass. That penis monster is a penis inside of a penis, and I don't understand, and I hate it.
Oh, I'm just getting images because the alien, when it sticks out its tongue and it's another head. I'm getting images like that. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. That is a vicious cycle of penis in ass.
Damn.
Oh,
okay.
So when you said that about rewriting genetic code, it made me think of Prometheus. So I'm glad you guys were also thinking of the Alien movies also. So that does sound like it could be like an interesting take on that idea.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Alex Garland, I feel like does these sci-fi concepts in a really cool, nuanced way. So that'll be fun. My only concern with it, like I said, is Natalie Portman, because I like Natalie Portman as an actress. It's just every time I see her, I always get kind of taken out in that, it's just Natalie Portman. She never
really.
I never feel like she's really hidden or like becomes the role in a way a lot of my favorite actors do. So I hope she is a little bit better in that.
Okay, interesting. All right. Is it okay if we move on to my number 4?
Mm-hmm. No.
No? All right. What else do you want to say about your movie?
I want to say about my movie that it'd be better if we talk about your movie now.
Okay, that's cool. I'm going back and forth. I'm looking at my list of my number 4 and my possible number 5, and I'm just going to go for it. I'm gonna do a last minute switch, and none of you can stop me. I'm really looking forward to Deadpool 2. I
forgot that was coming out too.
Yeah, well, you're just a forgetful person now. Like, now it doesn't matter that you forgot movies are coming out, because now you've established that you're forgetful.
I do Deadpool, the first one, I didn't love or particularly care about either.
No, that's fair. And like, people act like it's the greatest movie ever made, or it's like the best, or it's like finally we got an R-rated superhero movie and they just forgot all these other things. But all that being said, like, just the effort of getting a Deadpool movie off the ground was kind of the most amazing thing ever. And then the fact that it was the most well-performing X-Men movie, period, is hilarious.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really looking forward to Deadpool 2. Just there's something really needed about just dumb, crass humor that the first movie offered, and I'm hoping the second movie gets into more. I've heard the complaints about the first movie. I don't care. Like, oh, it's a pretty typical superhero movie. It's kind of the point, but good job. You found a complaint in a Deadpool movie. I think the joke is on you. So, really, I don't know. I'm just... Ryan Reynolds... It's one of those things where you can tell that the people making this are having a great time doing it, even though I've heard, like, some drama behind the scenes. And Ryan Reynolds clearly cares a lot about the part and has lobbied like crazy to get to play this character. And now that he's finally getting to do it and they're getting to franchise out and they just are having clearly so much fun doing it, it just makes me really excited. It just looks like it's going to be one of those things that's really fun to watch, Because I
know you two don't watch trailers, but the teaser trailer they came up with for Deadpool 2 is fucking hysterical.
Is it the Bob Ross one?
It's the Bob Ross one. It's so fucking funny.
I did actually see bits of that. I saw bits of that too. And it's just like, that is the perfect tone for Deadpool. Like, I really respect the first movie for having like just this crazy marketing campaign. Like that they tried to sell it to some people as like a romantic comedy that Ryan Reynolds was in, and then people showed up to the movie and did not really get that. There were other just risks that were taken in the first movie that like I just thought were really respectable, like as middle fingers or as in like giving someone your chin to punch kind of moves. Like when Deadpool gets pegged by his girlfriend at one point in the movie, I'm like, wow, if this movie sucked, that would be the scene like everybody talks about. But the fact that it worked, just it shows that there's a confidence and a real just a joy in the approach to it. And I think a lot of that has carried through to the second film, despite the director leaving pretty early on in production.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. To be fair, the director is now attached to Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, so really, who's the loser here?
Well, and the director is one of the co-directors for John Wick, and that's fucking insane. I can't wait.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just one of those things like, it's a super fun, stupid, crazy movie, and I'm excited for it.
I still haven't seen Deadpool 1.
Really?
Yeah, I usually don't like Ryan Reynolds, and I know he's capable of being a good actor. My favorite performance with him is the Amityville Horror remake, where like he's legitimately terrifying in that movie. Everything else I've seen with him, he's doing the same performance, but I haven't seen a ton of movies where he is branching out and doing different stuff. Like, I'm assuming in Arrival he's not playing the same character he plays in everything else, but like in Green Lantern and in the beginning of X-Men Origins Wolverine, like in those movies I feel like he's always kind of playing the same type, but I know he's done different performances, like in that one where he's buried alive, like he plays different types, but almost always when I see him and stuff, he's kind of playing the same thing.
I think
and then
he gets typecast. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. And then, like, I'm a huge X-Men fan, but I hate Deadpool, the character. I find him to be very irritating, and a lot of people will say, oh, he's really funny, and I say, oh, no, he's not. And then there will be people who say, he's a tragic character. He's not that bad of a guy, and I will say, his very first appearance, he was hired to kill Cable, like, and he was a bad guy. So, like, I don't know, like, the character has grown and evolved since he was first introduced, but I've never found him to be that funny or engaging. So I haven't watched it. That doesn't mean I will never watch it, but I would probably have to wait and find it pretty cheap to buy it before I watched it.
Or I could just
I
pick
think
it at
there's a
one
lot of
point and then
charm.
you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve, you were saying?
Sorry, I just said there's a lot of charm to that movie, if nothing else.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Again, there's just like things that even if you don't like it, you kind of have to respect the effort or the devotion put into it, right? Like there's a hard line on that because I can tell that Tommy Wiseau poured his heart and soul into The Room. That doesn't make it a good movie, but there's somewhere in the middle, like I don't know, Avatar. Like even if you hate that movie or something, like James Cameron really went all out on this thing, and on some level you got to respect that. So, stuff like that. So I kind of have, if nothing else, I think you could say that for Deadpool, the first film. And I'm just, it's just the tone that they're setting and the fact that, like, they showed Fox up so fucking hard, that they're going to just go all out again and have even fewer restrictions on them now because of the way that they showed Fox up with that. Like, it is crazy to look into the production history for the Deadpool movie, because, I followed that from when it was, like, first announced right after X-Men Origins Wolverine to when it just languished in hell for years and then finally got made in 2014 and all this stuff, and, like, the test footage came out, and, I hope they're wearing brown pants, that whole thing. There's just, like, it's crazy that movie did as well as it did, and just the fact that Fox had to go, okay, now you're our favorite people ever. There's just shit in that movie, like when he goes to get Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and he shows up at the X-Mansion, and he's like, weird that you two are the only X-Men I'm seeing in this movie. Almost like the studio didn't want to pay more money for bigger actors. It's just, like, really funny. And I don't think that you could have gotten away with it without being willing to, really, really commit to the character and what makes him appealing. So, just that same kind of mentality and taken to a bigger scale is what I'm really looking forward to with the next film. Okay. Ruben, what is your number 3?
All right, I chose the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph. It is called Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2. I only ever saw the first movie one time. I liked it a lot more than I ever thought I would, because generally Sarah Silverman, I find her to be kind of irritating. I can stand her in some roles, but sometimes I don't like her. Is it John C. Reilly who played Ralph? I sometimes like him a lot, and sometimes the movies he's in I'm not interested in. It's not him, but it's just the movies he's in. Sometimes I don't care about. But I ended up liking Wreck-It Ralph a lot more than I thought I would. I liked the concept a lot. I found it to be kind of like a modern-day Roger Rabbit movie, especially that scene where he and the other video game villains are kind of in their Alcoholics Anonymous-esque group. I don't remember what they called it. And I like that aspect of the movie, and I'm glad they didn't go overboard with it. I don't know a lot about the plot of this. I'm not even sure if we've gotten a trailer yet, but I'm assuming it has something to do with Ralph finding his way into the internet, and I'm assuming we're going to have something similar to the first movie with internet phenomena, like probably like Nyan Cat and the Annoying Orange or something like that will show up in this movie. I don't want to see those things become huge parts of the movie, but if they did something like the first movie where it's like one scene where those things show up, and then we can move on with our movie, I wouldn't mind that. So it's one of those things where I liked the first movie quite a bit, and I've only seen it once, but I did enjoy it a lot more than I ever thought I would. So I guess I've got a little bit more riding on this one because I liked the first one. With the first one I had no expectations at all. So this one I've got a little bit more expectations. I hope it'll be good. But if it's not good, it's not going to be the end of the world for me, I guess.
No, I gotcha. It's funny, I had that on my list as well, so now I'm going to have to switch it out. That would have been great to save Deadpool 2 for that, but whatever. No, No, like, I agree. I really did like the first movie. I loved all the stuff with the video game characters in the first movie. I just wanted a little bit more. Like, I was personally a little disappointed that he didn't get to interact with the video game characters more, and that they introduced, like, an original game. I was hoping they'd just, throw him in actual games more. But it seemed, legal reasons or whatever kept them away from that. So personally, for Wreck-It Ralph 2, I'm hoping for more of the video game stuff as opposed to venturing out to the internet. But, I was really surprised by how well the story worked in the first game, kind of just like, or in the first movie, just that idea of, like, you kind of are the way you are. You can't really do anything about that. It's what you do with that. I found really interesting, and I like that message. I thought that was, it's a good message, I think, to some degree. So I liked it quite a bit, and yeah, I'm also excited for the second one.
It's possible, you're saying you hope they do more. It's possible that they will do something with video games that are exclusive to the internet, like Plants vs. Zombies is the big one I can think of, or maybe like, those games they used to have when I would play them when I was a kid, like Pop It, where it's like a whole bunch of balloons and you're trying to get, like, you pop all the red balloons that are in a batch. Maybe they'll do stuff like that, where it's video games that don't necessarily have much of a story, but they're on the internet, and maybe he goes through some of those, and maybe because they're clearly the first one did well enough to warrant a sequel, maybe they will be able to work in more actual video games into the plot of this one and have less of the original stuff that they had in the first one, maybe.
Perhaps, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it too, though. Again, I thought the plot of the first one was, surprisingly good. Steve, any interest in the new Wreck-It Ralph?
I saw the teaser, I think, and I thought it looked interesting. I still haven't seen the first one.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, it's nothing against it. It's just I never got around to it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's just I think you're more of a gamer than I am. I don't know about Ruben, so I find it funny you haven't seen that.
I'm barely a gamer. I play, like, my newest system is a Game Boy Advance, so I'm not a gamer at all, but I do enjoy that kind of movie.
Yeah, I mean, I like video games, so I mean, I should watch it at some point. It's just one of those things where, like, it's sitting there on my shelf, and I can pop it at any time, and I just kind of don't.
Yeah, I think that's like a whole thing. Like, the fact that it's not on Netflix or something just means you don't have the time to go pick it up off the shelf and put the disc in.
Yeah, there's something about, like, the convenience of just sort of, like, laying about and having it play. Or, like, if it was on TV, I don't think I've ever seen it on TV.
Yeah,
if it was on TV, I may have watched it by now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I don't know, there's some other stuff I'm hoping that they do with that. Like, especially with the title, like, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and the fact that, like, his whole thing is he destroys everything. I'm really hoping for some, true blue chaos. Like, I want to see Ralph, like, if we're going to go all out, I want to see Ralph break Twitter, or Facebook or something. Just destroy something would be hilarious. So we'll see. We shall see. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to Steve. What is your number 3?
My number 3 is Bad Times at the El Royale. Does anyone know what that is?
No.
I do not. No.
Okay, so, if you don't know, I really like Drew Goddard. I think Drew Goddard's a really talented writer. I think he's a really talented director. He was attached to the Secret Six. He was attached. He was showrunner for Daredevil season 1. Did the first 2 episodes and then left so he could do the not Secret Six, Sinister Six movie over at Sony, and then that got canned, and he wrote a novelization for the first season of Daredevil that got published like once, and now you can't find it anywhere. He didn't direct The Martian because he was going to try and do something else, which I think was Daredevil, and so he wrote that movie, but Ridley Scott took over. This dude, ever since he left Buffy and Angel, has had all these opportunities to make these hugely critically acclaimed things, and for some reason or another, just randomly left before he could have gotten the fame for it.
Well, he needs to learn how to commit.
That's what I'm saying. Bad Times at the El Royale is, I think, his one time to fucking do this. He's the director and writer of it. It's got Jeff Bridges, it's got Chris Hemsworth, Russell Crowe. It's kind of like Shane Black movie style of all of these character big name actors set in the 60s are about to converge in this one location. There's like a bit of a mafia plot to it. There's like a police plot to it. Like, it's just this really stylized noir looking thing. I don't even know if we have a trailer for it yet. But it looks like a lot of fun, and Drew Goddard dialogue is some of my favorite. Him and Joss Whedon worked together on the script for Cabin in the Woods, and then he ended up directing Cabin in the Woods. Oh. And I love his style, and I love his dialogue. There are times where there's really famous stories of like Joss Whedon calling Drew Goddard up while writing the Age of Ultron script, and he did actually help Whedon a great deal in getting that movie the way he wanted it. And there are a lot of Loki scenes in the first Avengers movie are thanks to conversations Whedon had with Drew Goddard. So he's just a cool guy, and as of yet hasn't done anything to make me think he's an asshole. So I'm excited for this, and I've seen no discussion of it whatsoever, which makes me think it might be like a sleeper hit kind of thing. It's even coming out like in peak award season, so maybe this will put Drew Goddard on the map. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, here's hoping, and maybe he'll actually stay on a movie now.
Yeah, it's in post-production, so he did it.
Okay.
We'll see.
I recognize the name from back when I watched Buffy and Angel. I would listen to all the commentaries, and he was one who was on a few of those commentaries. And
yeah.
I always got him confused with David Greenwalt because it's two DG names, and I was just hearing voices. So, but he was with Cloverfield. He did Cloverfield, right? The first one.
I think he wrote it.
He wrote it. That's right. Yeah. I'm probably the only person on the internet who liked the first Cloverfield movie. And I still like it. There are people who said they liked it when it first came out and don't like it now, but I like that movie, and that was something that I think he could be proud of. It's one of my, I don't know, monster movies are not really my forte, but it's a monster movie I enjoy and still go back to from time to time.
I mean, I liked Cloverfield. I thought there was a lot of clever stuff, and I think it might have been better served if Goddard directed it instead of Matt Reeves, or even if J.J. Abrams directed it as opposed to Matt Reeves, just because I don't think that fit what Matt Reeves as a director is trying to do for himself. But yeah, Goddard in general, I have very rarely have problems with his writing. I love all of his Buffy Angel episodes. I like his episodes of Lost. I like Cloverfield. I like Cabin in the Woods. He was not the problem with World War Z. He is the reason The Martian is a really good movie. If I even remember right, I think he's even made one or two of my top 10 episodes of Buffy and Angel. So, yeah, dude's really talented.
Cool.
He was at one time, speaking of the Sinister Six not happening, he was attached to do an X-Force movie, and now that's maybe going to happen, maybe not, with all the shakeups with the Fox X-Men properties over the last few days. Who knows? But that's been an X-Force movie in one way or another has been talked about. I remember before Days of Future Past came out, they were talking about doing one, and then they said, hold on, we're going to wait in on this for a little bit. And it's been in production hell for that long. So I don't know if that's going to come out or not either, or if he will still be attached to it if it does come out.
Well, and I've heard Ryan Reynolds, after Deadpool came out, say that he wanted to be in the X-Force movie, and that was happening. So, yeah, I don't know the last time I've heard Goddard's name thrown around with that, but you're right. With the whole Disney-Fox thing, I don't have any faith in any of those movies happening unless they've already started filming, because I don't understand the Fox-Disney deal well enough to know how that's ever going to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my current fan theory is we're going to get Secret Wars to blend them together.
I'd be down for that. And we have set photos of Avengers 4 that show time travel. So
cool.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna move us along again, and I'm gonna talk about my number 3, which was Ralph Breaks the Internet, but I'm gonna change it to the controversial Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 2.
Oh, I enjoyed the first one.
Me too. It is actually my favorite Harry Potter movie, but it is
Whoa.
Yeah,
now.
we talked about that.
Yeah, it is now controversial as fuck because of Johnny Depp. And
Yeah.
like, earlier Steve's like, oh yeah, Jason Momoa made sexist jokes. At least they're just jokes. At least
Yeah,
he
at
didn't.
least he's not a wife beater.
Yeah, and so like, and then the worst part is like, you'll see J.K. Rowling on Twitter say all this shit about like, oh, these people are awful because they empower, these sexist men and these misogynists and stuff. And then she'll like make excuses for Johnny Depp, and I'm just like, okay, he's a big name celebrity. You've put him under contract. You've already paid him millions of dollars. And it's a major starring role in the film. And you can't, like, what was the movie where, like, I don't even remember who it was now, where they reshot all of the actors' scenes.
All the money in the world.
Yeah, for which actor?
Kevin Spacey.
Okay. Yeah,
Kevin
and
Spacey,
they got what's his face? The guy.
Yeah.
Christopher.
Yeah, and, like, so, from what I understood, and I don't know all the details, with that one, it was feasible to do because he was only in a handful of scenes. With Johnny Depp, he's going to be in so much of this fucking movie because he's the main bad guy. So, like, the idea that people are out there like, oh, you could just replace him. No, you really couldn't without reshooting, like, a good fucking chunk of the movie. So I can just accept the reality of this happened before we knew about it. We already paid him. We already shot the stuff. And we don't want to put everyone else through more work because one guy is an asshole. That is, it's not the best explanation, I get it, but it is understandable. This, like, bend over backwards attempt to try to justify for Johnny Depp or say, no, that's not the person we know on set and all this shit. I'm just like, fuck you. But at the same time, I really, really like the first Fantastic Beasts. Because the best thing about Harry Potter for me was not Harry, was not the characters, was not the chosen one plot. It was the world building that J.K. Rowling did. It was seeing all of that visualized, and that was the best thing about Fantastic Beasts. It was just getting to see more of the wizarding world of Harry Potter, just getting to experience America in this context. And I don't know anything about what Fantastic Beasts is going to be, but, like, I am so ready. I am so fucking ready for, like, Wizarding World Africa and Wizarding World the Middle East and Wizarding World China. And just, I want it to be a globe-trotting franchise. And it's what I want. It's just what I want. And it's so cool. Like, I remember, you could go to Pottermore and you could read, like, little snippets of just, things that they established. And, like, just everything about that was so cool. Like, I remember one of the details being, like, wizards in the Middle East don't use brooms. Instead, they use carpets. That's awesome. That is just awesome. That, like, it's such a small little detail, but it's so cool, and it's this neat blending of mythology and all this stuff. And that's what I'm so in love with doing Fantastic Beasts and getting just to see so much more of that world and, like, different cultures and how they deal with it. And man, Johnny Depp fucks that up a little bit though.
It will be in. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I fucking hate that we lost Colin Farrell in that role for fucking Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Like, Colin Farrell was the best part of that movie for me.
Oh yeah, he was. He was great.
It is. I am curious if they're going to, because like you said, Ian. Yeah, if depending on how much of this was planned and shot, before all of this came to light, I agree with you about how, like, it's too late to reshoot the entire movie. It's going to be very interesting to see, are they going to keep Grindelwald as a main antagonist for multiple movies? Because there's going to be 5 of these, right? They've already done 1, and there's going to be 4 more, I think.
I think something like that. It's the big franchise thing. I'm honestly surprised that they're limiting it to 5 with how piss poor Warner Brothers' success has been with the DC movies. Because like initially their plan was to finish the Harry Potter franchise and then go, all in on the DC movies, and Green Lantern was supposed to be their launching point, and then that failed. And then, they said, oh, well, we're gonna redo this, and we're gonna really go all in with launching for Man of Steel, and then that wasn't quite what it wanted to be, and then Batman vs. Superman was a huge disappointment, and then Justice League was an even bigger disappointment, and it's just all a mess. So I'm surprised that they're not going to go like, okay, Fantastic Beasts movies, we're just making them. Just everything's going to be Fantastic Beasts from now on. We're going to have the Harry Potter cinematic universe. I'm waiting to see if... Yeah, I'm waiting to see if Cursed Child's ever going to happen, you know?
I really doubt it.
Yeah.
Because everyone hated that script.
Well, I mean, they could redo it. They could, like, make a proper version. I don't know. It's whatever.
I'd be down for it, but I really doubt it. I don't know if that play went over well for, like, anyone.
It did not, but, I mean, I'm just saying that they could do that at this point. Like, they know what doesn't work about it now.
Do you think? And I by the way haven't seen the first Fantastic Beasts. I will watch it someday. But I'm only a casual Harry Potter fan. I read all of the books one time each, and then I've seen all of the Harry Potter movies at least one time each. Some of them I've seen many times. Like the first two, I watched just many, many times when I was a kid. I was just the right age and really was a huge Harry Potter fan when I was younger. And then as I got older, I was like, this is big when I was a kid, so I'm just going to keep going. But I didn't watch the last few movies more than once, but I didn't see Fantastic Beasts at all. But I'm wondering, do you think they could... If, let's say, they want to keep Grindelwald as, like, the big, he was kind of a big part of the backstory in the, not Order of the Phoenix, but the one with the triangle and the stick and the
Deathly
circle.
Hallows.
Yep, sorry. That's how much of a fan I am. So, like, Grindelwald's kind of a big part of that backstory, so maybe we want to keep Grindelwald in all these movies. What is the likelihood, you think, of... okay, we're going to keep Grindelwald the character, but we're going to recast and get someone other than Johnny Depp. Kind of like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, when they first started, you had Edward Norton as the Hulk, and then we recast him with Mark Ruffalo, and then you had...
Poor decision.
And then, and then you had... Well, I used to I still really like Edward Norton as the Hulk, but I've come around on Mark Ruffalo. I used to just not like that casting. I don't hate the casting, but I'm trying to think of other recastings that were huge, like Terrence Howard was Rhodey, and then they got Don Cheadle, and that's not happening as much in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that I'm aware of, but like recastings happen sometimes, and like James Bond has made like they've made 26, 27 movies out of recasting the character as many times as they need to. So I'm wondering if they could get away with that here.
It's a good question. Fact of the matter is we've already had two actors before Johnny Depp play Grindelwald, not counting Colin Farrell. Because, Colin Farrell's Polyjuice Potion. I don't know what the chances are of them just paying Johnny Depp to film a scene where he takes a super Polyjuice Potion to forever change his face or some shit like that. Fingers crossed.
Well, how many years? Because I remember for a fact that the first Fantastic Beasts is like right after World War One, and in the Harry Potter universe, Grindelwald is defeated like after World War Two. So depending on how many years pass between these movies, you could conceivably cast someone else as just an older version of the same person. Yeah,
maybe, but then that creates a problem with the rest of the cast, which I don't think they want to recast,
it's not like it's less problematic with X-Men, but X-Men does it, and I kind of feel like we'd give them a pass on it with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Part of the problem, though, is someone like Eddie Redmayne, who, dude doesn't age. He looks like he's 12 all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well.
Not to stay on this one too long, but I believe the guy who played Grindelwald in like the 10 seconds of flashback in the Deathly Hallows, he was in, he's kind of one of these like teen heartthrobs who's barely in anything. He was in one of the Twilight movies, I think, and he was in the Starz TV show Camelot. He played Arthur, and I really like him as an actor. Unfortunately, he's younger than Johnny Depp and Colin Firth, so I don't see them recasting and just getting him. But that would be something I'd be okay with, because I like him, and he technically played Grindelwald for a few seconds in flashback.
Yeah, that'd be just literally just get rid of Johnny Depp. The just seeing people try to rationalize away Johnny Depp is just such an eye roller to me.
Yeah.
Like just admit, okay, we already paid him the money and we don't want to reshoot the movie because that is unfair to the other actors in the film. Just fundamentally, that's unfair to them. You know, there's so many ways to just make it a shit sandwich to swallow as opposed to just a fucking nightmare, and they don't want to just take the damn medicine. Okay, anyway, Ruben, what's your number 2?
Yes. I have on here. Wait, did we do me and then you, or did we? Oh no, it is my turn. So Incredibles 2. Incredibles is my favorite Pixar movie. I like superheroes. I like most of the Pixar movies that I've seen. I haven't seen every single one of them. And I'm not one of these people that is just like a diehard Pixar fan and like I'll go to the theater to see them all. There are several I haven't seen, but I really like The Incredibles out of all the ones that I've seen. And that one came out when I was like a sophomore in high school, maybe. And I liked it quite a bit. And
really? No, that can't time out. We're the same age, right? 27?
28. I'm 28.
Dude, that came out when I was in middle school. There's no way you were a sophomore in high school.
maybe I'm misremembering my timeline because I know I watched it a couple of times. Like in my sophomore year, I think we saw it twice in class. Like whenever the teacher wanted to grade papers. So I'm probably like shifting memories in my mind, thinking that it came out that year. It had to have come out earlier now that I think of it because we were watching it in class. So you're right, and I'm wrong. But yeah, came out in middle school, and I don't know a whole lot about the plot of this one. Brad Bird did say he did not want to do a sequel unless he had a story to tell, and so I'm excited and hopeful that this will not be just a cash cow. I have not seen Toy Story 3, but I kind of feel like the Toy Story movies are getting to that point where we're making them because they make money. So I hope this isn't that. But I really like the first one, and I think this could be a really good movie. Don't know a whole lot about it at all, and I prefer that since I try to go into these movies cold. But so far, I'm excited and hoping that it'll be good.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I'm really interested to see that one as well, just because like that is the most obvious one for a sequel. The idea that he doesn't have a story or didn't have a story until now is just crazy to me because the fact of the matter is, like, you know, it's a superhero thing. They're made for franchising and sequels. That's just, you know, that's what comic books are, right?
Yeah.
So I never understood why they never made a second Incredibles, but we got like a Cars 2 and Toy Story 2 and 3, Monsters Inc. prequel, all that stuff is so bizarre to me.
Planes. We got that Planes movie that's a tie-in to Cars. Like that's the mind-boggling. Although that was technically not really Pixar, was it? It was kind of an off-brand.
Yeah, it was a Disney.
Okay.
Yeah, like I don't know. I was waiting for trains. I really wanted planes, trains, and cars.
Steve Martin.
Yeah,
like
Steve Martin,
the Nick Fury of the.
Yeah, and we could like CGI John Candy in, and just all kinds of stuff.
I'm excited about this because the first one was at a time when Brad Bird apparently he said that he was making this because it was based on his own experiences of trying to balance work and his new family at the time. And so I'm curious if this is going to be something similar where, that was over 10 years ago. And so his family is much older now. And I'm wondering if he's going to incorporate some of that into the movie or if it's going to be the characters are all the same age and we're getting a lot of the same drama. It could still be good.
It's the latter. As far as we know about the movie, there is no time skip. It's set like literally right after the last one.
Okay, and I'm okay with that. I would have been okay with Violet is now in college or out of college and has her own kid, and Jack is 10 years old or what. I would have been okay with that, but I'm also okay with they're all the exact same age.
Mm-hmm. And, it's just one of those things, because you can actually do that with animation, while you can't get away with that in, like, live-action stuff. Like, it's
Right.
weird to watch the X-Men movies and have them say, Wolverine doesn't age. Yeah, no.
And on the other hand, Steve mentioned this earlier, Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy look exactly the same in, Dark Phoenix and Apocalypse as they did in First Class, and they're supposed to be, like, in their 60s by the time you get to Dark Phoenix. They
10-year jumps. You keep
Yeah.
doing it with actors that aren't even that old yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially James McAvoy. Like, how old is James McAvoy? Is he in his early 30s or something?
I would be surprised if he was in his mid-30s at this point.
Yeah, like that dude, like when I saw him in Wanted, I was like, oh, okay, this young actor, this young up-and-coming actor, and then all of a sudden he's like in all these other movies. I'm like, he just doesn't look old enough for these kind of roles.
He is 38.
Fassbender you can get away with to a degree. McAvoy, dude's really young.
Wow, he's
Has to be.
38.
He's got-
That's crazy.
What?
Yeah.
He's 38 and Fassbender is 40.
What? Fassbender looks really old for his age then.
Mm-hmm. And I guess
Not in a
maybe
bad way. He just looks like James Bond distinguished, but still.
that is crazy.
Yeah. Oh well. But yeah, that's something you can do in animation that you can't in live action. So, it'll be cool to see that again. I'm looking forward to Incredibles 2. I need to rewatch the first one. It's been over 10 years since I've seen the first one.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I hope, jokingly, I made this joke once before. I really hope that Dash's teacher, who paused the VHS tape, is like, look, he's right there. I hope that he's in this movie, like, the Gladys Kravitz, like watching them through binoculars and like.
Dude, I hope
know.
he's the villain. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Oh man! All right.
I would stand up and give an ovation, like right in the middle of the theater, if that happened.
Okay, Steve, what was your number 2 then?
My number 2 is the Disney adaptation, A Wrinkle in Time.
Really?
So I read the novel when I was really young. God, I don't even remember at this point. I may have been in elementary school. I remember as much as I read the novel while I was waiting for the next Harry Potter book to come out, and I read my first Harry Potter book in 2nd grade.
Okay.
So, like, it's been a long-ass time. But the book was really good. From what I remember, I thought it was really imaginative. I had a whole bunch of fun with it. There's that famous story about that little girl who read the book in the early 1960s, sending it to Walt Disney as a way to, like, talk about the Vietnam War and shit. And ever since then, Disney's been trying to find a way to adapt it. I've never cared about any attempt to adapt this book, not because it's not worth doing, but because it didn't seem like it was anything special. They did a TV movie years ago that was pretty shit.
I remember that one coming out. I remember seeing the trailers for that, because when I saw the trailers for this one, I was thinking, I could swear they made a movie of this already. And like, I asked my sister, because she's read the book, and she said, I don't think so. And I looked it up, and I was like, I knew it. And I don't think I ever saw it, but I remember seeing trailers for that other one.
Yeah, I think I saw it on Disney Channel at one point when I was younger, and I fucking hated it. It's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I care about this movie is it's the adaptation is being written and directed by Ava Darvin. I don't know how to say her last name. But if you don't know who that is, look her up because she's fucking amazing. She is the director behind Selma, the documentary 13th, and Middle of Nowhere. So she is this really, really fantastic, very socially aware filmmaker that does all of these really well-researched and really well-articulated, really nuanced political points in everything she's ever done. 13th is a documentary on Netflix about the 13th Amendment and how the not necessarily a loophole, but the purposeful wording of it that allows prisons to be what they are, and how mass incarceration is the modern day equivalent of the resurgence of slavery. And she's just fantastic, and she has all of these really, really fantastic points about culture and society. And Selma is not just a like stereotypical Martin Luther King biopic about like don't see color. It is like this really hardcore, particular what does it mean to have black identity kind of thing, and it's just fantastic. So this movie has the characters in the book. I don't remember having any like specific markers of whether or not they were white, black, boy, girl, or anything, but the amount of diversity just thrown into the mix of this movie, like we're talking like Indian actors, we're talking black actors, we're talking Asian actors, we're talking white actors, we have a mixed couple, we have like we have characters with like crazy afros and characters with standard slick back white hair. Like it's this beautiful conglomeration of diversity and awesomeness and really bizarre special effects and stuff. And the book is really fun and inspiring and a good fairy tale, but it's everything behind the camera on this one that makes it so exciting. So I can't wait for this. It's going to be fantastic.
I mean, you make it sound so much more interesting than what I saw in the trailer, because, like, I just saw the trailer, and it reminded me of that other Disney George Clooney movie that was a total flop. Tomorrowland, I think?
Tomorrowland.
Yeah. Like, I just saw the trailer, I'm like, wow, they're trying this all over again, just like they did with Tomorrowland, and it failed. Good luck, Disney. So, you know, you make it sound really interesting, and I didn't realize it was the director of Selma. Selma was someone I considered picking for History Month at several different points.
We need to review that movie at some point. Selma, I think, is one of the best movies of this decade.
Wow, okay. Yeah, so you make it sound really interesting, and now I'm actually legitimately excited for this film. Cool.
Well, and part of what I like about it is you have this like really, really serious, socially aware director, and she's doing exactly what you should be doing in art, which is it's a really fun, bombastic kids movie that injects all of this natural, important, political, ethical stuff as if it's just there and normal and fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of love that. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I remember reading part of the novel when I was in middle school, I think, like early middle school. I didn't get very far into it, and I probably should have just tried a little harder. I was notorious when I was a kid about I wasn't great at just reading something. If it just didn't catch my attention right there, I wouldn't keep on reading. But if it's a thing about like alternate dimensions and like going to other planets and stuff, I probably would have really enjoyed that when I was a kid. And so I will probably watch this, maybe even watch it in theaters. It looks fun. And it's got a cast that looks really like big. Like Oprah's in it, and I keep forgetting that Oprah was an actor because like, you know, when I think of Oprah, I think of she's got the TV show and she gives advice and stuff like that, but she has a career as an actress. And so that kind of, when I saw her in the trailer, I thought, what? And then like I'm looking at this, and we got like Reese Witherspoon, Zach Galifianakis. Like yeah. I have a hard time seeing him in anything that's not like a goofy comedy. So that'll be interesting to see if he's doing something kind of...
he's comic relief.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind. I was going to say, like, is he going to be like, you know, a wise Merlin type, or is he going to be like, you know, the monkey in that James Franco Wizard of Oz movie? But yeah, okay.
Yeah, I saw the trailer. He's completely comic relief.
But it's still going to be fun, though. I'm excited for him not in a movie not making dick and fart jokes.
Oh, but have you watched Baskets on FX?
Yes.
Okay, because I was about to say, like, that I've only seen clips from, but it seems like really highbrow kind of humor that you would probably enjoy. Like,
it's fine. It's kind of quirky.
The scene that I heard that cracked me the fuck up was, like, he was in his interview to be a rodeo clown, and is like, because apparently that's a thing. And yeah. He's like, the guy goes, so what's your clown name? And he goes, Renoir. No, your clown name is not Renoir. We're going to call you Baskets, because that's all rodeo clowns do, is they run for the frickin' baskets. And I was just like, that's a really, really funny idea, that his clown name is the most pretentious fucking thing you could ever imagine.
I saw a trailer for season 2, and he's giving a lift to somebody in his clown car, and they said, "What's the trunk space in this thing?" He said, "It can fit 50 clowns." It looks really funny. I haven't seen any of the episodes, but it does look funny.
Yeah. Okay. Mind if I go over to my number 2?
Go for
Yeah.
it.
All right. My number 2 is The Predator. Shane Black's The Predator. Oh my god, I am so excited for another Predator movie. Just
What did you like Predators?
I like all the Predator movies. Like even though AVP and AVPR are terrible movies, the Predators are not at fault for that. That is the aliens bringing their shitty, unbalanced franchise into
You
the
can't
Predators.
You can't say AVPR is a bad movie. No one's ever seen it.
Thank you. Oh, I liked AVP. I thought it was a goofy movie, but I really liked it. I enjoyed the heck out of that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I thought it was a dumb, fun movie. I agree with Steve. The lighting in AVPR makes that movie very difficult to watch.
Yep. So, like, I don't think there's been a bad Predator movie. Like, the best complaint I've heard against Predators is it's too reverential to the first film, and that is just not a problem to me whatsoever. Like, it is all so in references, like the fact that they play the same songs and have, a bunch of callback lines. I'm just like, you can so easily overlook that. It's ridiculous. So no, I really, really like all the Predator movies. Predator has yet to be in a bad solo Predator film, and I really, really like Predators. I doubt that they're gonna touch on that at all. It seems like the Predator movies are almost a damn anthology at this point, which kind of works just given the situation and the way that the Predators are set up. We've never seen the same Predator twice, anything like that. So just seeing Shane Black come back to the franchise since, like, early in his career he was in it, and doing his thing, it sounds really exciting, and taking it, back to the roots of just in the jungle, nothing complicated about it. I'm excited for it. There's just so much good Predator material out there that I just am happy that we're getting even more. Because Shane Black's never made, like, a god-awful movie, and Predator's solo adventures have been consistently good. Like,
It does also keep up the fantastic tradition of a Predator cast full of complete weirdos. Like, I don't understand this cast. I don't know what tone they're going for, and I'm excited.
Oh, Keegan-Michael Key is in it. I'm excited.
Keegan-Michael Key's in it, Olivia Munn's in it, fucking Yvonne Stravotsky's in it, Thomas Jane's in it. What is this cast?
I'm getting more excited the more we talk about it.
Yeah.
They had me at Keegan-Michael Key. Like, I hope he's doing, like, one of his weird characters from Key and Peele, and he's like, that would be so...
The anger translator just shows up.
The anger translator for the Predator. Like,
just hear, like, the... He said, bitch!
I liked Predators quite a bit. I've only seen all of the Predator movies once, except for AVP. So I need to go back and rewatch those.
Okay, earlier you said the newest game system you have is a Game Boy Advance. Do you have a PS2?
No.
Ah, damn. Okay. Never mind then, because I
Yeah.
always recommend this. This is ridiculous. There's a game for PS2 called Predator Concrete Jungle, and it's awesome. But what makes it even more awesome is you get to the end credits, and it's actually got kind of a complicated story, and then you see the credits, and it says written by Grant Morrison, and you're like, what?
Oh, wow.
I my fucking mind when you first told me that. I can't...
Yeah, the Predator in it's named Scarface because it's all about, like, gangsters and stuff, so it's great. I love that game. Highly recommend Predator Concrete Jungle. There's a playthrough of it online that, like, edits it all together as a movie for you, so that is...
Yeah, I just saw that, so that may be what I'm going to be doing tomorrow.
Awesome. Let me know what you think. But anyway, yeah, The Predator, it works. It's got I like that the Predator movies are just branching out and dropping the numbering and just kind of letting them all have different names and stuff. Really, the only thing I want from a major motion picture Predator movie at this point, beyond what Shane Black's doing, which is going really basic to the roots of the franchise, what made it great, I really, really want a historical period piece Predator movie. Because there's a great fan film called Predator Dark Ages that had the Predator versus a knight, and that was awesome. And I want something like that for a major motion picture, but for right now, just keep making Predator movies and keep making them consistently good, and I'm fine. So I'm excited for the Predator.
I had a friend once who he told me he thought it'd be a really cool idea if you did like a Netflix series where like I don't know if you could do like a 13 episode series like where like the Predator is, you know, in one particular time period, but like each season would be a different time period. So like you could do anything, anywhere. Like I think that'd be kind of cool. And I know that one of the best things about AVP, I think, is the idea that the Predators being sent to Earth is like a coming of age trial for them. Like them coming to Earth is like, this is what turns you into a man, kind of. I thought that was a cool idea. I don't know what you guys thought of that, but
I like that idea. That's cool. I I like the idea that the engineers from the Prometheus thing created the alien, the xenomorph, to deal with the Predators, and it just totally didn't work because the Predators are just like, oh yay, we can play with these. That's the current fan canon. So I find that really amusing. Anyway. I don't really have a ton to say about this because this is one of those things where I'm avoiding much information about it, but I'm just legit excited, you know? So Predator, rock on.
Yep. So my question is how Christmas is going to fit into this.
Oh my god, right? Shit, it's Shane Black. Oh fuck.
It has to somewhere. What is a Predator Christmas movie?
Predator hunts Santa Claus.
And will this eventually become your favorite Christmas movie?
That could very well be.
I think it will be like the Star Wars holiday special, where we'll have like a 5-minute creepy dance sequence with the Predators watching.
Okay, so if you've never seen it, you should look up Danny Glover Dances with Predators, because there's this amazing behind-the-scenes footage just of them screwing around when he's in the ship in Predator 2, and like all the Predators are dancing around with Danny Glover, and it's amazing. And in my headcanon, it's a deleted scene that shows the Predators and what they do with like a human once a human has killed a Predator to induct him into the tribe. That is my personal headcanon.
I like that. That sounds good.
Oh yeah. Anyway, Steve. Oh no, Ruben. What's your number one?
Okay. Avengers: Infinity War.
Yep.
So was this on your list, Steve?
No, I purposely avoided that. I'm
right.
I do want to mention, though, since I guess we are at number ones, Infinity War, Solo, Pacific Rim Uprising, Halloween, The Predator, Black Panther. None of these are on my list, but they are all some of the most exciting movies of the year.
Okay.
I'll be watching most of those. Let's see, which one? Pacific Rim. I didn't like Pacific Rim, so I probably won't watch that sequel. Sorry if you guys liked it, but
You're
Infinity.
Dead to me. I'm kidding.
You're dead to me.
Infinity War. So I don't know what the plot is going to be beyond what we saw in the trailer. That is actually the one trailer, like, I sought it out. Like, I came home from work that day, it was trending on Twitter, and I went ahead and watched the trailer. And it pretty much told us what we knew, that Thanos is coming to take... Sorry.
No. I've not watched the trailer.
Okay, so I won't say any more about that. But I don't know what the plot is going to be, but I'm excited. The only thing that has me a little bit worried, and this is something that was revealed like 2 years ago. The Russos said that there's going to be like 67 or 68 characters in this movie. I don't know how in the world they're going to do that and actually give. They
confirmed that was false. That was a rumor that someone started, but they confirmed that was false. That's not actually true.
So that's good. Because I had when I was googling that to make sure that I didn't just like imagine that, the last thing that I saw that mentioned that was an article from like September of 2016. So, and I hadn't seen anything more recent than that, but that has me a lot less worried because without spoiling anything, the trailer does not look like it has that much like stuff. Like it doesn't have 70 characters worth of stuff going on, but that has me a lot less worried. That was the only thing that had me worried. I'm pretty excited about it. I used to not be as big of a Marvel Cinematic Universe fan as I am now. Now, occasionally they will put out one that I don't really care for. I was a little bit disappointed by Doctor Strange. I liked Thor Ragnarok, but there were things about it I would have done a little differently. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to what's going to happen in the future. I heard you say that about the time travel in the next Avengers movie, so I'm wondering if we're going to see Kang or if that's going to be I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that as well. Recently, I watched through all the Phase 2 movies and did that whole Avengers Day thing, so I'm at a similar point with that, where I'm like, man, I'm really starting to get into the MCU more and more, because I was always not on the fence. Like, I liked every MCU movie I've seen. I just thought that, like, they get way too much praise, but Phase 3 on, I think they've all been, like, really, really good. Like, Doctor Strange is the only one that's kind of weak, in my opinion, in Phase 3. And that's, you know, and it's not even it's a bad movie, it's just a really typical movie, right? So, yeah, I've been really, really digging all these. You know, Guardians 2 is probably the best Marvel movie, in my opinion. You know, maybe I feel like that changes every week, but the seeing Infinity War being built up, it's crazy how long it took that we got, you know, basically quasi Avengers 3 with Civil War, and we got Age of Ultron, and yet we've had Thanos set up since the end of Avengers, and it's just it's kind of refreshing that the Marvel Cinematic Universe feels like they could take their time. Because I remember so much felt like it was rushed to try to get to Avengers. Like, Thor felt really kind of shoehorned in there for the first movie, just to try to get him established for Avengers and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's really impressive that they were able to go, you know, let's actually take some time and really round out the universe a lot more, get, you know, another Avengers movie under the belt with Age of Ultron, and show that this isn't a perfectly cohesive team with Civil War, and just so much of it's just felt like a lot more rounded out, that now that we're finally getting to Thanos proper, it's like, okay, yeah, now this actually feels as epic as it should. Now it really feels
6 years to the day Avengers came out. Like, it's been half a decade since Avengers when this movie comes out. They've really, really stretched it.
Yeah, and it feels earned. It really, like, you know, when you tease Thanos at the end of Avengers and everyone was thinking, okay, so he's going to be in Avengers 2, and then we got Age of Ultron announced, and we're like, wait, what? We're doing Thanos and Ultron? And it's like, no, it's just Ultron. It's like, what happened to Thanos? And, like, there was a lot of impatience, but now it really feels like a proper comic book universe where this shit happens, you know? So I'm really excited for Infinity War 2.
Yeah, I mean, that trailer, without describing it too much, I thought looked absolutely fantastic. And I love how much mileage they're getting out of the whole callbacks to the original film's marketing and how well it's working for people. Like, the poster for Infinity War and poster for the original Avengers, they're exactly the same, except the colors are brighter. Or like, there's lights around the one from the Infinity War. It's the exact same music. They're using that big speech from the end of the first movie. There's all of this stuff where that trailer is really trying to hit home for the fact that, like, this movie is not necessarily the culmination of, but takes into account everything that's happened in the last 10 years. And it's really, really cool. It feels like a cultural event in the same way Avengers did when that came out.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. It looks really, really good. So yeah, good pick, Ruben. Good pick.
And not to diminish the movie itself, but I'm looking forward to what happens next, because it does feel like everything's been building towards this moment. I'm very curious to see what they do next, because I believe Kevin Feige said he doesn't know, or he said that at one point. I'm sure he knows now, but it's going to be very interesting to see what's the state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe going to look like after this movie. and I'm just very curious to see where they go from here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Okay, Steve, what's your number one?
My number one is Wes Anderson's new movie, Isle of Dogs.
Yes, I almost had that on my list. I'm glad that you did.
Perfect, cool. Someone else has heard of it then. So Wes Anderson is one of my favorite directors currently working. I think he's fantastic. He's got a really, really unique style. He did a stop motion movie before called The Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I really like. And this is his next stop motion film. He's been working on it for the last, I want to say, 4 years or so. And it's got your typical Wes Anderson cast of like Bill Murray, Edward Norton, and like a bunch of other people, like Yoko Ono's in this movie for some reason.
Oh my fucking god!
In this movie for some reason. fucking Liev Schreiber's in this movie for some reason. I think.
Oh wow!
Yoko
I didn't know that.
It's just a bizarre cast, and Wes Anderson movies tend to have like a really, really loose plot. Not in the sense that the plot's vague or doesn't make sense, but in the sense that the impetus to get the characters going is super general. It's almost always like a really in-your-face self-discovery kind of thing. So basically, this one is just about in a dystopian future Japan, there are these dogs that are going to find some kid. Kind of. Sort of. I don't even entirely know. That trailer was adorable, though, and there were dogs, and they are doing things, and it's Wes Anderson, and I can't wait.
Man.
It looks really fun. It looks like an instant classic, and I kind of hate that phrase sometimes, but it looks like one of those things where, 10 years after it comes out, we're going to be saying, I'm going to be saying, I cannot imagine a world where we never had this movie. Like, I don't know. I can't think of another example of that except for maybe like Elf. Like, where now, like, that's so ingrained in the pop cultural conscience. Like, I almost feel like this will be that, except that Wes Anderson movies generally are kind of underappreciated by everyone. Like, you look at a lot of his filmography, and a lot of people just don't talk about his movies. I'd say the most talked about one is probably the Royal Tenenbaums, maybe. But like, I haven't seen the Fantastic Mr. Fox. I really want to. I really wanted to watch the Grand Budapest Hotel because I heard a lot of people compare that to Clue, and Clue is my all-time favorite movie, or one of my all-time favorite movies. So I really want to watch some of his movies, and I just haven't done that yet. And I really need to get myself into some Wes Anderson.
He's definitely an acquired taste, and sometimes that can be kind of slow and rough. But I feel like it's exceptionally rewarding when you really sit down and watch his movies. I like that you said the whole instant classic thing, because Wes Anderson's last movie was Grand Budapest Hotel, and that came in 2014. I don't think we've had a year of film as good as 2014 in a very long time. 2014, every movie on my top 10 list became a movie that is one of my favorite films of all time, including Grand Budapest Hotel. So, like, Wes Anderson not only has to outdo himself, he has to outdo himself from the year of some of the greatest films of all time.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it, especially after Grand Budapest Hotel, which I thought was really, really good, really funny, and just, that weird quirkiness of Wes Anderson. So it'll be interesting to see his next movie. I'll probably watch a trailer for that one, because I've not heard anything about this.
Yeah, I don't even know when it's coming out, what the marketing is for, or anything. Like, I've followed the production very loosely, only in that I know it's coming out, not even that I don't even know if I've seen the trailer for it in theaters yet. I think I saw it once on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, Wes Anderson movies tend not to have the best marketing in general. I think his most commercially successful is probably Grand Budapest Hotel, but that's just because he got a lot of award attention.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds interesting, and Wes Anderson's kind of one of those guys you can count on to be himself when he's making a movie, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay. Just quick question, stupid question. Don't spend too long answering it, because it's a stupid question. What superhero would you want to see Wes Anderson direct?
Ooh, Mr. Miracle.
Ooh.
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
No, he's
yeah.
too quirky for Mr. Miracle. Mr. Miracle needs epic.
What
No,
about,
I love the notion of Wes Anderson plays with the geometry of comedy, and Mr. Miracle having to like transgress and play into that third dimension. Like my go-to example is always that scene in Grand Budapest Hotel where the character's standing there and the police are there, and the police tell them that he's about to be arrested, and he repeats the fact that he's about to be arrested. The whole scene is shot in like this really flat, everyone's on the same plane. No one speaks for a second, and then he runs away into the background. Because that entire scene is shot so you forget there's a third dimension. And if anyone can do that in a cool, interesting superhero way, it's Mr. Miracle, and I want that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I would say Moon Knight.
Okay, that I could see a lot more with all the
Yeah.
weird quirkiness. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and go on to my number one, which is, of course, the best number one, and the number one everyone was truly waiting for. The Black Panther is
Yes!
ready for you! Oh, God, I'm so excited for this fucking movie, and I've seen
yes.
nothing from it. And that makes it even better. All I've got to do is make it, like, half a month longer, and I get to see a Black Panther movie without knowing a goddamn thing about it. And I am so excited for that.
Oh my god, that movie looks so fucking good. I can't believe how good it looks. Its ticket sales, its advanced ticket sales are outpacing every Marvel movie ever.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen a trailer for that one either, Ian?
I've seen, like, just little bits of pieces before I, like, turn my head away or whatever, you know? Like, I've seen a couple little things in GIFs online, but that's it.
Mm-hmm. I saw the trailer in a theater, and I won't tell you to watch it, but I will say I learned very little about this movie from the trailer I saw. It was one of those trailers with a musical montage, and so it's one of those trailers where I feel like it doesn't give away that much, but I won't tell you to watch it just in case you watch it and you're cursing my name, saying like you learned something you wish you could have seen cold in the theater. But
okay, well, let me put it this way: like, if I could, I would like to go into movies not even knowing the actors that are going to be in them, nor who they are playing.
I would prefer that also. I'm on the internet way too much for that to be feasible.
Yeah.
So like I wish that we could do that with movies these days, but I'm just too much on the internet for me to be able to do that. But I try my best to avoid trailers. I will watch it like in the theater. The only times I'll just cover my eyes and ears will be if like a Star Wars trailer. Like I went into Last Jedi knowing nothing because every time that trailer came on, I'd like cover my eyes and ears. But like for Black Panther, I didn't even know what I was seeing a trailer for until they said, "Well, I won't say it. Sorry."
No,
but
that's fine. Like for me, I avoid trailers, like just because even if they don't give you story details, like I went back after watching The Force Awakens and I went and watched the trailers, and I was really impressed that they misled you on what the story was going to be for that. Like they really did a lot of hinting that like Finn was going to be a new Jedi and all this stuff, and there's like a lot of subversion for that, which I liked. But even still, they still showed you all the wonderful shots from Force Awakens, like a lot of the really, really epic visuals. And I was so glad that I didn't even see that I didn't see that until I went into the movie. And I'm really, really excited for the same thing with Black Panther, because just the still images I've seen, oh my god, it's. Can we just talk about, real briefly, the Phase 3 Marvel movies have been literally gorgeous?
Yes. Oh god, yes.
Yeah, like my god, is Thor Ragnarok just a beautiful fucking film?
Well, I just think the aesthetics of all of those movies are so good, and like we've gotten so good at being able to create like these dynamic color palettes and costume designs and stuff. Black Panther's costume is the best live action superhero costume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
looks good.
Fucking perfect.
Well, it's perfect because like even when he's not on, like even just set photos of him sitting around waiting to do stuff on Civil War, it looked amazing, right? And the movie or the Black Panther solo film looks like it's pretty more or less the same thing. It's just some small cosmetic updates. Like they didn't retool the suit that much. They kind of found what worked and stuck with it. Yeah, I am so unbelievably excited for Black Panther, and just the color palette of it looks amazing, and I'm just oh my god.
Next month, man. Next month.
Oh god, I am so hyped for that. And then like really the best part about that is because of all the hype for it, it's going to have just a gigantic box office, and that means we're going to get more male or more black superhero movies. Just the same way we did with with like Black Widow getting a movie now because Wonder Woman did well and stuff like that. So I'm like, fucking finally, you get off your asses.
I agree completely.
Have you read a lot of Black Panther comics, Ian?
I went through and did Trade Talk episodes on all of the Reginald Hudlin run. I really want to read the Christopher Priest and the Don McGregor stuff too.
Okay. Don McGregor and Christopher Priest is where they're pulling the most from too.
Interesting.
I think I read. Did Don McGregor do more than one run, or was it just in the 70s that he did his thing?
He had about 4. He didn't have a run per se. He had 4 stories he did that were all basically like 10 to 12 issue kind of epic arcs. The big one he didn't finish was the Panther versus the Ku Klux Klan, and there was supposed to be like this 4th one to his trilogy because he has like Panther's Rage and Panther versus KKK, and then like Panther versus something else that never got finished. But for the most part, it's like these 4 epic stories.
I read the Essential Black Panther book a few years ago, and I remember it's possible that I just wasn't giving it a fair chance, but I remember really not liking not Reginald Hudlin, the Don McGregor stuff, and it's half of that is Don McGregor and half of it is Jack Kirby, and you could not possibly get 2 more completely different tones like for the same character. Like Jack Kirby, you immediately start with like these weird mad scientists and these frog statues that take you through time, the King Solomon's frogs. So like really weird stuff. And like I like the Jack Kirby stuff so much. I need to go back and try again on the Black Panther stuff by Don McGregor, because I really like Don McGregor's Killraven, which was, I want to say, from the same time period. And for some reason, I just couldn't get through the Don McGregor stuff on Black Panther as much.
Yeah, it's good to get through it now because you have the Panther's Rage Epic Collection, which has as much as he completed on Ku Klux Klan and the full Panther's Rage story. The other stuff we don't have so much of. I feel like there's some old trades of it here and there, but for the most part, you just want to read Panther's Rage. Panther's Rage is, I think, the quintessential Black Panther story, and it is, without a doubt, the entire backbone of the movie they're making, which makes perfect sense if you know that story. Mm-hmm. The only big thing they're borrowing from an era outside of that is the Christopher Priest stuff, because that's where Everett Ross comes from, which is kind of controversial because Black Panther was never not a major player in the Marvel Universe just because of his status in Wakanda and all of that. But Black Panther was never like the star of the Marvel Universe either. So Christopher Priest has a really, really jackassness of a quote where he talks about when he was writing his run, he didn't create, but like he took Everett Ross and made him the main character because he thought comics are mostly read by white men and white men don't like black men. So the only way to tell a story about a strong black character is to channel it through a white gaze.
Wow, that's a
and I'm like,
thing.
No, fuck you so hard.
Man, I was really excited to read Christopher Priest's run because I know he introduced what is the name of the bodyguards, the Daj Mahadra or some shit like that. Some nonsense, and like, man, that was just like a really cool factor. And I saw that they released like the like they're doing the Mark Waid and Jeff Johns, the Flash books and stuff like that right now, and they got like the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern, and it looks like Marvel was doing the same thing with Christopher Priest Black Panther, so I was planning to get that in the future. But man, after that quote,
yeah,
ouch.
I mean that run is good in places, but like his thing's really annoying. He even has a whole thing where he talks about how he needed Ross to be the most un-PC, borderline racist character ever in order for people to get Black Panther. And I'm like, no, you didn't.
Oh man,
You really didn't.
I don't know. I'll give it a chance on its own. I really like the Hudlin stuff, so it'll be interesting to see what this does. Since you're saying it's not going to be pulling from that at all, because the interesting thing about Who is the Black Panther by Hudlin is he wrote it as a if we make a Black Panther movie, this should be it. Because Hudlin's a screenwriter, not a comic book writer, but he just writes comic books for the fun of it, or for like, okay, well, this is what I'd do with them in film, and man, that first volume is fucking incredible. So it'll be interesting to see just something that from what I'm gathering, Steve, sounds very different.
I agree completely. I love the Hudlin stuff. I like a lot of the Christopher Priest stuff. Part of the reason the Don McGregor stuff is, I think, kind of the perfect place to get the Black Panther story started is the whole concept behind that run is T'Challa's come back from hanging out with the Avengers, and the people of Wakanda are divided about whether or not he has their best interests at heart now that he's spent so much time in an imperialistic, white-dominated outside world. And that's where Eric Killmonger comes from, because he doesn't trust T'Challa, and that's basically the movie.
Yeah, that was what was in the Essential Black Panther that I read.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did like that aspect and element from that run.
Cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. I also love the posters for this movie.
Oh yeah, they're gorgeous. They're beautiful.
Love them.
Oh. One of my favorite things about the Hudlin run that I do hope sticks characterization-wise is T'Challa's a bit of a smartass.
For sure.
God, he wrote that shit so well. Like, there's this issue with the House of M crossover, and, like, Black Panther is just sitting in his throne room, and, like, Sabretooth is there around a corner about to assassinate him, and, like, Sabretooth is lining up a shot, and T'Challa just, like, picks up a gun and points over his shoulder and shoots him. And Sabretooth's like, you can't believe you shot me. Why not? I'm a very good shot.
That's great.
Just shit like that. Like, there's another issue where, like, the Wakanda had caught the Mole Man trying to dig his way into Wakanda, and they just had confiscated the thing he was using to dig his way in, and then sent him on his way. And, like, T'Challa's sitting there arguing with his advisors, like, I still think we should have punished him for trying to break into Wakanda. And he's like, he's the Mole Man. What could we do to him? So I really hope that kind of stuff stays, because that is just funnier than shit.
The trailers have hints of stuff like that, so I think we'll be pretty happy. I'm excited. I can't wait for this movie. It is my number one, but I knew someone else was going to pick it, so I decided not to keep it off my list.
See, this is why Steve is the modern day Jesus. Steve will sacrifice his picks for you.
I will. Since we are essentially wrapping up, I do want to talk about a couple other things really quick, just because we didn't get to them. But the Halloween reboot, remake, sequel thing is coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't heard about this.
Yeah, so John Carpenter's back doing another Halloween movie. So for anyone that doesn't know, I'm a really big fan of the Halloween franchise, because I saw it as a kid and it traumatized me, and so now I'm just obsessed with it because that's what happens. And the Halloween movies are really bad. There's really no other way to say it, is that it's kind of awful. So if you want like a really quick abridged version, Halloween happens, then Halloween 2 happens, then Halloween 3 happens, which has nothing to do with 1 and 2, then 4 happens, which has nothing to do with 3, then 5 happens, which ignores 3 and 4, then 6 happens, which ignores 2, 3, and 4, then 7 happens, which ignores 3 through 6 and only acknowledges the first 2. Then 8 happens, which ignores everything except the first one, and then the remakes happen, which ignore everything.
So it's like the Highlander of horror movies.
Basically, the only difference is, and I love this about Highlander, is Highlander is the only franchise where the sequel is considered one of the worst movies of all time, and it's not even the worst in the franchise. So essentially, Halloween is in a rut. It's always been in a rut. It was a rut ever since it came out. But now there is a weird reboot, sequel, remake thing happening with John Carpenter that says apparently the only thing that's canon is the first movie, and it's set multiple years later. And Jamie Lee Curtis is back and everything, and Carpenter's doing the music, and like it's a legit new Halloween movie that's apparently going to be as close to that first one as possible. It's probably going to suck. It's probably going to be terrible. John Carpenter hasn't done a good thing in years. But we'll see.
Damn.
And I'm excited. So
All the hope just drained right out of that one.
when was the last time Halloween made a good movie? That's
Not
right.
Halloween. I
Never.
thought you said I was talking about the John Carpenter thing.
That too. When's the last time John Carpenter made a good movie? That's right. He hasn't in a long ass time.
Damn. Ouch.
So yeah,
Shots fired.
that's gonna be hilarious, and I'm excited. Pacific Rim Uprising, it's exciting because I love Pacific Rim. And then the other one is Solo, a Star Wars story. I think I'm the only person in this world who thinks that movie will not suck.
I don't know if it's gonna suck or be really tonally weird. I'm the weird one that, like, apparently I was the only kid that actually liked Luke more than Han. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. I was the only kid not obsessed with Han Solo as far as Star Wars fans go. And I didn't think Han Solo was the coolest thing since sliced bread. So the idea of just making a Han Solo movie, I mean, I'm excited for Donald Glover to play young Lando. I think that's going to be kind of neat to see. But otherwise, I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, that movie's going to exist.
I don't know. I'm really excited for it. I love Han Solo because I was the kid that thought Han Solo was the coolest. Donald Glover is going to be cool. I like the actor they picked for Han. I know everyone's worried about Lord and Miller being kicked off that movie because they think Lucasfilm is being too dominating. But reading into what actually happened there, the reason they got kicked off is they are really famous for doing not only a lot of comedy, but a lot of improv comedy. And Lawrence Kasdan, the guy who wrote the movie, actually wants the movie to be as closest to the script as possible. And the only reason he didn't direct it himself is some kind of like union thing. I don't know the details of that. But Lord and Miller got kicked off the movie because not only did they refuse to stick to the script, but they got so far into production and no one had any idea what this movie was about. Like everyone was completely lost because they were going to find the movie in editing, and no one trusted that. So it is Disney's fault to hiring directors that work like that for this project. But at the same time, no, you kick those guys off this movie. And Ron Howard is literally just there to film the script as is.
Okay.
So I think this will be fine, and everyone's overreacting.
Okay, we'll see.
My only real expectation with this movie, I really hope that Donald Glover pronounces Han and Chewbacca, like Billy D. Williams did. I really hope that he says it like that. I'll be so disappointed if he says it Han and Chewbacca. That's all I really want. If he can do that, I'll be excited.
Oh, that'd be pretty funny if they keep that in step. You know, like there's some forgotten concept art for Revenge of the Sith that shows Kashyyyk, and it shows like a little young boy running around with the Wookiees, like little forest child kind of thing.
Oh no!
And I'm like, oh my god, I so want that to be in this movie. I so want Han Solo to be like a little forest child that got left on Kashyyyk, because apparently Chewbacca, at least in the old EU, was like 300 years old.
Yeah,
that almost sounds like a joke, except like that actually sounds like something I would not have wanted that. I'm really glad they didn't. Like, it's like, I don't know if you guys watched the Red Letter Media where he said, like, some of the best things about Revenge of the Sith are what they didn't do. And he said, like, you know, here's little kid Han Solo that they bring in and shake, like, hey, kid Han Solo, meet baby Luke and Leia. And he shakes their hands. Like, I'm really glad they did not do that.
I don't know. I think that'd be a cool origin for him. Is just got a little forest child. But whatever. We'll see what it is. I don't know. I reserve judgment. I'm just not hyped for it. Like, it's crazy because all the Star Wars movies, I've had to run out of the theater, closing my eyes with my ears plugged, and when the trailers show up, And for this one, I'm not going to do that. I'm not seeking out the trailer, but I'm not actively avoiding it either. And yet I've not seen literally anything for it yet. So I'm just like, oh,
Yeah,
well.
there is no trailer yet. Apparently we're going to get one sometime this week, allegedly. I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Everyone, thank you very much for watching, though. Steve, we need a review topic for next week.
Review topic for next week. Since I brought it up, why don't I just go ahead and review Selma?
Sure, fuck it.
Yeah, I'll be down with that. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Okay, heavy shit. Let's do this. All right, everyone, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the Exile.
And I am still the new kid for now.
Okay. And we are your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things. I just need a little bit of a lead up before we get started. Trying to think of anything interesting happened today, but nothing really. Don't you hate it? I like the big bombastic laughing intro, but I can never get it to happen on time anymore. Damn.
We can fake it.
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Part 2. Joining me today is Steve Baxi and Ruben.